Hey everyone, this is Rushlock, and today CCP has put out some pretty big news regarding third-party gambling websites in interaction with their game EVE Online. So traditionally, years and years gone by where sites like EveBet, SummerBlink, more recently I1ISK, one upcoming one, Eve Casino, would provide an environment where players could interact with a third-party website to gamble their in-game ISK for, prizes, ships, more ISK, things like that. Of course, they would take a rake and they'd come out positive on the casino house side, but I mean, that's how, like this always work. But today, CCP has put out an announcement that as of November 8th, which is also the date of the November update, this type of interaction will no longer be permissible. I'll put a link to this post in the comments or description down below the video. I'm not going to read the post line for line for you, but I'm going to scroll through and kind of touch on the key points here. I am joined by Frank the Bank, who's just now looking at it as well. I've been talking on folks on Twitter for like the last 20 minutes or so. Keep in mind, a lot of this is still a little murky, but the part that's clear is that the gambling sites will be dunked in about just under 4 weeks.
But we don't know if that will extend to like personal raffle giveaways.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So in my live broadcasts, I currently do ISK giveaways whenever we have a new subscriber to the channel or Patreon supporter. Basically, when someone in the audience or the viewership monetarily supports the broadcast and allows us to keep going full time. As an extension of that, we also celebrate by making sure there's another winner drawn at random from chat and this given away. Some folks, I know Ari in Discord chat earlier had pointed out, like, does it count that since the users in the stream chats aren't actually wagering anything? No actual interaction on that part. But as stated, the part that I have here on the screen, you may not use, transfer, or assign any game assets for games of chance operated by third parties. So obviously Twitch chat is definitely a third-party website. It's a game of chance in terms of everyone puts in a free entry and someone is randomly selected to be the winner of the ISK. From my perception or my interpretation, not that I'm any kind of legal expert whatsoever, but I would presume that would count as that. It's a game of chance that who wins the ISK. I suppose in theory, if I wanted to do the extra steps and jump through the hoops, I could tell people to send me an in-game mail, number 1 through 100. Then I could randomly somehow attribute a number and say, all right, if you get the number, you win, or the closest person wins, and if multiple people get the right number, we split the pool, things like that. But it'd be very clunky and very, very unwieldy to do something like that. And then at first I thought, well, only people that are logged into the game could participate, but then I remembered that EveGate allows people to access their in-game mails while they're not logged in. I guess that helps some people, but you can just see how clunky and messy that could be. Imagine the inbox exploding and not fun that could be. But yeah, third-party websites, gambling, getting dunked. 2 that were mentioned specifically by name. I1ISK is under investigation apparently for the last little bit about RMT. My personal awareness of I1ISK is I've seen a few streams that have been associated with them. I think the largest one being Iron Bank. I wasn't aware until about a week ago, but apparently this is old news, that Iron Bank was moving to another group called Eve Casino, which is the other one that's also mentioned by name, which is getting dunked on grounds of DLA, or a developer license agreement violation. I don't have enough personal awareness to know what scenarios can trigger that. My very, very narrow perception is under the impression that maybe Eve Casino's development of their infrastructure somehow interacted with CCP software or hardware in a way that they didn't appreciate. Full disclosure, I was in communication with Eve Casino as of last week, talking about potential collaboration, how we could help each other out forward. They had another project called Eve Academy that they wanted to put out. Very, very interesting to me, because it sounded like they had all this infrastructure that I wouldn't have to recreate or reinvent if it was already pre-existing, helping out new players getting into the game. Eve Casino was one of the vehicles that helped fund that. But apparently they weren't even up and running yet. They weren't going to launch, I think, until Eve Vegas, which is about 2-3 weeks out. But yeah, that'll be dunked as well now. So I1ISK is already shut down. Eve Casino has also been shut down, which is kind of strange because operating, but point is, and then they apparently never will, according to this post. CCP does specify, this. Anyone who's been playing Eve for any amount of time knows how this works. CCP will not reimburse you any of your ISK, nor should they, to be honest, at least in my opinion. You should have zero expectation of getting any of your ISK out of any of these systems, with one exception, which is EveBet. EveBet is one of the ones that's been around the longest that I'm aware of. They've had heavy interactions with the Alliance tournaments every year. Of course, billions and billions of ISK out there still floating. And the timing of this is really interesting, the word I'll use, because as far as I'm aware, EveBet's the only one that CCP has plugged directly, repeatedly, consistently. And that's not a negative thing. It's just, I guess, for whatever reason, the one they were the most comfortable with. Maybe somebody who knows more about it can put in the comments down below more information about that. But I'm also reminded of Summerblink, which I started back in 2009. And I was a Summerblink user very, very lightly. I just didn't play enough to interact with it daily by any means. It was the one that I was the most familiar with and most aware of. A couple of years ago, this is a lot of secondhand information, but this is just my awareness of it, and I hope that someone who has more information can post in the comments down below with more facts. If you have any sources to link, that'd be amazing. Love to read more about it. But Summerblink had some kind of promotion going on. They were a Plex seller, and the one I'm familiar with is Marquee Dragon. They're authorized Plex dealers and sell Plex associated with EVE Online, and because they have their own niche, unique customer bases or marketing venues, they can shift that assets and make real money. Proper. Losing my words. It's too early in the morning. Legitimately. There's the word. They can do things like this legitimately. Well, apparently Summerblink was also an authorized seller, or they were associated with one that was, and they had worked out some kind of arrangement where the code seller would also include like a X% bonus with your next interaction with Summerblink. This added perceived value to purchasing through that provider, and I'm not sure who that provider was, but in advance, supposedly, Summerblink contacted CCP to say, hey, here's our promotion concept for you to look over and just give us the thumbs up or thumbs down if we need to change anything. Supposedly, allegedly, CCP said, yeah, you're good to go. Or, obviously not everybody in the company, but whoever dealt with those email exchanges. So Summerblink got the thumbs up, supposedly, launched the program. I do remember around that time, there being like tweets and such about people whining and complaining like, oh, that's RMT and so on and so forth. And it may very well have been, it may not have been. I don't claim to be familiar with the situation enough to have an opinion firmly one way or the other. I usually tune out whenever I see posts and tweets about people, complaining for the sake of complaining. I don't see a lot of times where people post actual content, actual sort of concepts. It's usually bitching for the sake of bitching, for lack of a better term. But eventually, I think after a couple of months, the promotion got plugged. It may have been weeks, but I thought it was months. The promotion got dunked. CCP said, hey, you never had authorization to do that, which of course, if you're on the receiving end of that, you say, well, I did have permission, I have documentation of it. CCP says, no, you don't. So the person who was handling it for Summerblink posted their emails from CCP where they did in fact have permission to run said promotion. And then CCP dunked their accounts and all associated accounts for breaching TOS on sharing private email exchanges with the company. So obviously, you can't post your CCP interaction emails publicly ever for obviously any circumstance. But the person, who was handling that, I'm not familiar with them enough to know. But that person was put in a hard spot. Do I let another organization tarnish my name and integrity when I have the proof to validate claims? Anyway, it was a big mess. This seems to be the next chapter in that. So, understandably, RMT is something you have to go after aggressively. So, for whatever reason, CCP had pretty substantial reason to believe that IWI was involved in RMT. They've been dunked immediately. Something with EVE Casino's development was obviously an issue, so they dunked that as well. The only interaction I guess I'm curious about is if I can do ISK giveaways in stream chat on Twitch. We currently have the system where whenever we have a new subscriber or a new patron, we give out ISK in chats. Still technically a game of chance, and it's on a third-party website. So I don't think that's the targeted intention, but I definitely don't want to put myself in a position where something I am doing could or could not, enforceable or not enforceable, have a negative impact in the future. So I'll have to put some thought and think into and try to reach out to CCP and see what their position on that is. Some people have pointed out already this morning that it could be a legal matter. The reason that's worth mentioning is that the CSM is actually, I think now or recently, in session. So this is a player organization that interacts directly with CCP, and they discuss matters and make plans and suggestions and things like that. CCP has a history of taking input from the player base in that format and getting things done. And tweets today from, I think it was Eve Bob? I'm wrong, but stated that the CSM was at no point in any way involved in this process at all. It was dropped out of the blue from their perspective, which suggested it was a legal department issue. Maybe legal came to them and said, hey, investigation of IWI, this is what you should do going forward, and so on and so forth. But let's scroll down and see if Frank has any things he wants to throw in there, and I'll scroll down and see if I can find any other key points to make mention of.
I mean, not really. The goons are sanely happy about what happened because, I want ISK as the one who funded.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Their whole war
Right.
against him. So goons,
Goons rejoice.
goons are rejoicing.
I think of anything else. So the first part of this article, like this much of it, is the actual post. Everything else is just a redlined, upgraded, or not upgraded, but updated terms of service that you can do at your own leisure. But the meat and potatoes of the post are right here in the beginning. That's pretty much all the points I had for it. We'll update you as we can as we get more information. But if you have any assets in I1 ISK, as far as I'm aware, it's already been shut down. I don't think you can withdraw anything. I cannot stress enough that if you're an EVE veteran, this will not be a shock at all, but you will not be compensated or reimbursed in any way. But if you're a newer player, or just maybe this is the first time you've interacted with one of these websites, don't feel like you're the only one that's ever been caught up in one of these. Sadly, pretty typical for third-party services that it can run great for years and years and years, and then one thing can happen and don't like that overnight. But we'll continue to monitor the situation, keep up, see if there's any new posts going out. Tab over to Twitter to see real quick if there's any quick things to point out. He mentions of it being I see a tweet from Iron Bank saying, well, this is 13 years down the drain. Mentions there. But yeah, that's the short part of it. I'll, of course, make the post here linked in the comments or the description below. If you have more information, if you have more perspective, I cannot stress enough how valuable or how much we'll perceive value of people who can post links and sources for stuff. Most knee-jerk posts will just be ignored, but if anyone has anything of substance to share, absolutely encouraged to post it, and looking very forward to hearing from the more educated, more familiar player base, their perspectives with it. As always, thank you for being here, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yep.